And good morning again. This is Sunday morning at about 11:30, where we're doing a weekly hangout on air over YouTube and Google Plus to talk about ancient wisdom, financial success, health, and so forth, based on the reading of Dr. Mao's latest book called Live Your Ultimate Life. Dr. Mao Shing Ni from Southern California is widely known as an expert in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And he sent a group of us an advanced copy of his latest book several months back. And we thought it might be a good idea just to do a little kind of a book club on Sunday mornings at 11:30 Eastern Time and just talk about what we've learned from the book and just general conversation about the philosophy of using ancient wisdom. In this case, of course, Dr. Mao's ancestors are from China. His father's from China. His father is actually a master, Taoist master, and is 99 years old. And Dr. Mao says that his father still takes daily hikes around the hills in their area at 99 years old. So we should all hope to have such a illustrious life as Master Ni, the father of Dr. Mao. And you've probably seen Dr. Mao on TV, on Dr. Oz and many other TV shows, radio shows, and does seminars all over the world. And I thought I would just go over a little bit of the back covers of his book. It's a lot of good information on here that I've kind of forgotten, even though I read it a long time ago. Dr. Mao says, how good would it feel to live your life purpose, enjoy optimum health and fulfilling relationships, wake up energized every day and go to work knowing that you feel passionate about your career? Yeah, that would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Yeah, I was in the teaching career for years, which I did feel pretty passionate about. Then I got into real estate investment. And at first I was probably fairly passionate, but after many years of dealing in real estate, it wasn't so passionate. Now, if I to use some of the thoughts included in the book, I probably would be able to have continued that passion. But in any event, Dr. Mao says, learn from the ancient wisdom of the I Ching, also known as the Book of Changes, a centuries old, if not millennia old book of ancient wisdom from China, as you begin a journey of self-discovery, delving into your inner being and personality to uncover your life's purpose. Now, the idea of the Book of Changes, the I Ching, is in the old days, and to some extent still, it would give you advice. You would throw sticks in those days, or in these days, I guess you could throw dice. And so you're coming up with random, or some would contend not so random, choices, and then you read a chapter of the book and it will give you some guidance for the day, for example. Also included in that is the idea that the world and the universe is always constantly changing, as we are, and so the idea is to be able to handle those changes. So if you have a so-called low day or bad day, you just realize that's part of the changes, and things will change and you'll turn into a better day tomorrow. Sun will always come out. Kind of an idea. And then along with that is the idea that in Eastern thought or Chinese thought, there are said to be 5 distinct personalities, that one of those personalities would be our main trait. And so he talks about, if I can find it here. Okay, so he says, the book kind of provides a blueprint for you to co-create your life that you really want to live based on the 5 element personalities. Whether you are the authoritative wood personality, the passionate fire personality, the nurturing earth personality, or the methodical metal, or the wise water personality, you can achieve a balanced life and happiness through, and he says, strengthening your physical health, and you can use elemental herbs to do that, which is a traditional Chinese practice. Peace within yourself using meditation and invocations, which is another word for prayers or thoughts. Improving relationships with various harmonizing techniques, and increasing your prosperity by leveraging your strengths and talents, and creating meaning in your life by finding and living your purpose. So for the first step is to find out your 5, which one of your personalities is the predominant one. And if you look at the notes on the video here, there's a link to go to a site where you can take a quiz to see what your predominant personality is. Mine happens to be water, and probably secondarily metal. In earlier years, I was definitely metal, which is he calls methodical. So I tended to use checklists and do everything very, very logically and in order and so forth. Fire personality, I see that a lot, and I'm not sure if any one of these has more people than others, but fire personality is that passionate type of person who is impulsive and does things on the spur of the moment, not necessarily a great deal of planning, just does things. The authoritative wood is kind of like your type A personality. A lot of bosses and business owners would be that way, where they're kind of the leader and want things done a certain way, and so forth. In nurturing earth, that's your, anybody that's nurturing. Mothers, of course, are nurturing. And so the idea of all these personality types is they definitely have their strengths, but then they're also, you watch out for balance. So you don't want to go overboard on the personality traits, getting out of balance. So if you were the methodical metal, for example, you would not want to live your entire life of every moment of making checklists, doing things in order, and everything super logical, because that would leave out the opportunities for the opposite. And same thing, or say you're the nurturing earth type, you may want to help everybody and help all the animals and bring peace to the world. And anytime anybody asks for something, you would help them out. And that could get overboard because you spend your entire life and every living moment helping other people and not taking care of yourself. So it'd be kind of like the shoemaker that goes without shoes because he gives shoes away to everybody else, kind of thing. So there's always a balance. So Dr. Mao, through the book, gives you ideas and hints on how to use that balance, or how to bring balance and use your strengths to improve your health, your physical, well, obviously your physical health, your financial health, your relationship health, and all the various ways of living your life. Now, the younger folks might say, who cares? Probably to some extent when I was younger, I did that too. Looking back, I don't know that I would do much differently, but certainly some of the moderating techniques and moderating thoughts would have made my life go smoother, my relationships go smoother, and my financial health goes smoother. But like I say, when you're young, you feel, feel like you'll never die, nothing will go wrong, and your way is the best way. But it takes some years to catch on that not quite that easy. So anyway, I was talking, normally we have Brooks in here on Sunday, and we just have a little discussion on various things that come up. And last week we had started on the financial chapter of Dr. Mao's book on improving or handling your financial stability and so forth. And I think we left out last week, and you can see all these videos on YouTube or on my Google Plus pages. And there's a playlist of just these ancient wisdom videos. So you could go onto my YouTube and look down at the main page for the ancient wisdom playlist, and just play them as we do them every week. So anyway, talking about money, and last week we mentioned, Dr. Mao mentioned that money is an expression of your productive energy. So he says money is neutral. It's neither good nor bad, which in Eastern philosophy is the kind of the thing that there's no good, no bad. Everything is kind of neutral. It's how you use it and how you balance. So the idea is to not judge things, just use they are and so forth. Okay, so he says money is an expression of your productive energy, and depending on how you manage it, can be positive or negative. And it can be a valuation tool that determines the worth of your determines what the worth of your productive energy is. So if you're able to provide highly sought after goods or services, then the price may become greater. And if you do the opposite, price may become not so much greater. And he says the important thing about money is to recognize it's the energy we use to sustain us materially and to allow us the freedom to live out our lives in a constructive and meaningful way. And I would say most importantly, or at least very important, is as well as to help others in need. So again, money's neutral depending on how you use it. Okay, and then he's talking about money can corrupt you in three ways, and he gives the example of teenagers, how energy can go awry. Teenagers have loud parties, smoking, drinking, drugs, and violence, and so forth. So these are expressions of out of control energy, leading to unfortunate and sometimes fatal consequences. And he says money energy is no different. When the energy is out of control, greed or reckless spending, the consequences are dire for the person and for those who rely upon him as well. In my personal experience, of course, many, many years. As a very young person, I think probably started before I graduated from college, my idea, as was many people's and is many people's idea, is to get as much money as you can as quickly as you can. So I started reading books on how to become financially successful, and at the time hit upon the idea of investing in real estate. And so I read every book I could on real estate, and also stock market. Now I think about it, my first inkling of getting rich quick was the stock market. I read a bunch of books on the stock market. And in fact, before I was 21, I started buying stocks. And in those days, I'm not sure it's still true, you couldn't buy stocks in your own name if you're under 21. So I had to get an account in my parents' name. But in any event, I started buying stocks and was semi-successful. As it turned out, not through any skill of my own, even though I read many, many books. It was just the years, those were the late 60s, 1960s, when the stock market was just generally going up. So just by chance, as it turned out, I was making some money. And then as the stock market reversed itself, which things do, remember things always change, then I started losing money. And I was starting to get more and more adventuresome, thinking, oh boy, how smart am I? So in addition to stocks, I started buying what's called commodity futures, where you can buy gold and soybeans, and just about anything on commodity futures. And at first I was making some money on that because the market was going up, or at least I picked markets coincidentally that were going up. And then at one point, I bought a stock, and I'm not exactly sure, but I think it might have been JIK's, which I don't know if they're still around. They used to make tractors and farm equipment. And for some reason, I had some daydream or dream that that company was going to, stock was going to go up. So I bought a whole bunch of it, and it didn't go up. So I ended up owing money to the stockbroker, as it turned out. It was, just a few $1,000s, which I paid them. Got a nice letter from the stockbroker saying, well, thank you for paying off your debt, or whatever the deal was. Because I guess probably a lot of people in that situation just walked away and didn't pay him back. But anyway, so make a long story short. So in those days, my idea was to make as much money as fast as I could. Then after the stock market and commodities didn't work out all that well, although I have to admit, I continued the commodity futures for many years, making some money, losing some money, and it's all a gamble. So I thought, okay, let's go into real estate. So I think with my last year of college, I actually ended up, money I saved on jobs and so forth, I bought, believe it or not, a 4-unit apartment building in Columbus, Ohio. And of course, I read all the books on real estate investment. So I thought, oh man, I really know what I'm doing. I'm going to make a killing on this. And books I was reading said, buy building cheap, fix it up, and then sell it. Okay, so I bought this pretty nice actually, brick building. It was an older building. And I thought, okay, I've got it. Now I'll paint the rooms, it was bricks, so there was very little wood on the outsides. I painted the doors and a little bit of wood. And then I went back to the bank to see if they would increase the amount of the loan on it. And this was after a couple of months, but all the book says, oh yeah, no problem, just fix the place up and it'll be worth more. Well, they said, well, no, it's not worth any more. So that didn't really pan out like I thought. And then as it turned out, I decided I wanted to move to Florida. So I moved to Florida, and I still had that apartment building. Well, that was a bad move because you can't really manage tenants from 1,200 miles away. So I ended up selling that, and I think I pretty much just got what I put into it. I didn't lose anything, didn't make anything. But anyway, so that still in my mind is make money fast and real estate. So a few years later, I started buying real estate in Florida, and just by coincidence, real estate was going up. So I was able to buy a piece of real estate and then make a few $1,000s or something. It wasn't huge, but anyway. So what I want to get to is, if I would have thought this out, or if I had a little more wisdom, I probably would not have been so greedy in the sense to try to do things so quick, so fast. I wouldn't have lost any money in the stock market. I wouldn't have wasted a lot of time in the real estate market to the detriment of other things, because I pretty much spent all my time reading about real estate and trying to find out ways to make money in real estate. So anyway, so that's what Dr. Mao is talking about. Is don't get tripped up by greed, the insatiable appetite to accumulate ever more. And then he says, this person cannot help but perpetuate behaviors that may be illegal and criminal due to greed. I don't know that I did anything illegal or criminal. Then he gives the example of Bernie Madoff, who in 20 to 30 years swindled investors with this Ponzi scheme, bilking billions from foundations and retirement plans and individuals. And I found over the years that greed happens very often, even to the most admirable people. Whenever there's a big pile of money or a possible pile of money, greed will rise its head. So watch out. Okay, and then Dr. Mao says, watch out for the enslavement by money. This type of monetary energy corruption comes from enslavement by money. The person accumulates wealth, buys many things, only to come under the pressure to maintain their things and lifestyle. They're no longer free, but rather enslaved by money. Addicted to external trappings and how those are viewed by society. Now, in Western society, probably in Eastern as well, all over the world now, we're constantly bombarded by advertisements and advice to buy this, buy that, use this, use that, and everything they are trying to sell you is, looks very, very good. So we're kind of now trained to just accumulate stuff. And then we're kind of weighed down by it. So you buy a big house and you got to now maintain it, pay for it. In fact, I was reading an article online today. A real estate site was advocating buying 1,000 square foot house. The typical new house nowadays is about 2,500 square foot. So they're advocating buying a smaller house because obviously it costs less to maintain. You're not encouraged to buy stuff because there's no place to put it. And so it's sound advice, but our way of thinking is, oh no, I can't live in a 1,000 square foot house. Where would I put all my stuff? So there's a million excuses why you can't do it. So anyway, then Dr. Mao starts talking about how to transform the financial energy to cultivate, manage, and manifest the energy of money in a correct way. And he uses kind of the language of the traditional Chinese thought of cultivating your energy, cultivating your life, and using the analogy of cultivating, a crop. So it's a process of gathering, growing, cultivating, deploying, and regenerating energy. He says that, for example, started out like raw physical labor or intellectual development, and transforming it, refining it, and channeling it purposefully, and finally sublimating it to a higher form of spiritual energy. And then he talks another analogy that transforming financial energy is akin to the process of producing gold, where you start out with just earth, mine the earth, and then use processes to use that ore that you mined and turn it into gold. Okay, we'll carry this on next week. We'll try to do about a 20-25 minute Sunday morning little discussion here. And feel free to ask questions on the comments or make comments on the YouTube channel and favorite the channel, and come in whenever you have time and spend a few minutes and see what you might learn. All right, my name's Don from LaBelle, Florida, and we will see you next week on the topic of ancient wisdom and how you can use it to improve your life slowly and gradually and in balance. Okay, see you later from LaBelle.